In 2011, researchers at Yale University brought people into a lab and gave half of them a milkshake labeled as decadent, indulgent, a 620-calorie treat. They gave the other half a diet milkshake labeled as light, quote-unquote, sensible, costing only 140 calories. The participants drank them, and the researchers immediately drew their blood to see how their metabolisms would respond. But there was a big twist. Both groups drank the exact same milkshake. The labels were a complete lie. The sensible and the indulgent adjectives were completely fake. And logically, because the physical biochemical nutrients in their stomach were identical, everyone's metabolic reaction should have looked more or less the same. Calories in and calories out, right? But when they looked at the lab results, they found that the blood work was drastically different. Their bodies had physically reacted not to the food itself, but to the label on the bottle. Today, I'll discuss one of the most interesting topics in the health world, the biological power of perception. And specifically, we're going to look at the science of the gut-brain axis and how your mindset can literally dictate your metabolism and even your weight. So, let's get into it. Okay, let's go back to the milkshake experiment. What exactly did the blood test reveal? Well, the researchers were measuring a specific gut peptide called ghrelin. Think of ghrelin as your hunger hormone. When your stomach is empty, ghrelin spikes, telling your brain to find food and slow down your metabolism to conserve energy. Now, when you eat a heavy, satisfying meal, your ghrelin plummets, telling your brain that you're full and that it can restart your metabolism to digest the food. People in the experiment who believed that they drank the heavy, indulgent milkshake, their ghrelin levels dropped dramatically. Basically, their digestive system physically responded exactly as if they had just consumed a massive meal. On the other hand, the group that believed that they drank the diet, healthy, sensible shake, well, their ghrelin stayed pretty much flat. Their bodies barely registered that they ate anything, leaving them biologically hungrier and keeping their metabolic rate suppressed. To me, this is massive. Their bodies didn't respond to the actual nutrients. They responded to what their minds believed about the nutrients. So it makes me wonder, if you're constantly eating meals that you view as restrictive, punishing, or diet food, your brain might be keeping your hunger hormones elevated. You might be fighting your own biology because your mindset is locked in scarcity. But what else can mindset actually do? A few years before the milkshake experiment, Harvard researchers looked at over 80 female room attendants working across several hotels. These women were doing incredibly physical labor, pushing heavy carts, scrubbing, flipping mattresses for hours a day. Yet, when surveyed, 2/3 of them said that they didn't exercise regularly because they viewed their work simply as work. Their minds didn't consider it as a workout. So the researchers divided the women into two groups. The control group was told nothing. Basically, continue doing your work as usual. But the experimental group was given a brief presentation. They were told that their daily work wasn't just labor. It was a highly effective workout routine. And they were given specific numbers. Changing sheets for 15 minutes burns 40 calories. Vacuuming burns 50. Cleaning a bathroom burns 60 calories. And for the next month, the women changed nothing about their routines. They didn't work harder, they didn't join a gym, and they didn't change their diets. But at the end of the month, the informed group changed. They lost an average of 2 pounds. Their blood pressure dropped by about 10 points, and they even lowered their body fat percentage, all in 4 weeks. Nothing in their physical reality had changed except their perception. By simply recognizing their daily movements as beneficial, their biology followed. And the authors of this study made an interesting concluding point. We tend to call placebos inert, like the magic is in the sugar pill. But in this study, there was no pill. The effect was in the person the whole time. So you can, in a sense, think yourself into a different state. In a healthy body, your gut and your brain are constantly talking to each other. But in our modern world, chronic stress and ultra-processed foods have basically cut the communication between the two. If ghrelin is a hunger hormone, leptin is a fullness hormone, and leptin is released by your fat cells to tell your brain, hey, we have plenty of energy stored, you can stop eating. But when you eat a diet heavy in ultra-processed foods, or when you have too much cortisol from stress, your body pumps out way too much leptin. And when a signal is overused, it simply becomes noise. Eventually, your brain just ignores it. This is called leptin resistance. You can eat a massive meal, but your brain never gets a message that you're full. So you eat more, which makes you, well, more obese, which again exacerbates your leptin resistance. It's a vicious cycle. And right now, modern medicine is trying to fix this with pharmaceuticals. Specifically, GLP-1 drugs like Ozempic. And while those drugs can legitimately help people lose weight by artificially mimicking the fullness signal, they're kind of a brute force approach. A good way to think about it is like this. Imagine a house filled with flies. You can buy repellent which makes them go away, but only temporarily. You don't realize that you have a pile of trash in the house, attracting the flies. In the same way, these GLP-1 drugs treat the symptom, but they don't actually repair the jumbled connection between your mind and your gut. That's one reason you often see dramatic weight gain when people get off these drugs. To actually heal that connection, we have to look at how we train the brain. Now, this is an amazing study in 2020. Researchers in Mexico looked at school children dealing with obesity and anxiety. One group was put on the standard conventional diet, the classic eat this but don't eat that. The second group didn't get any diet. Instead, they went through an 8-week mindfulness program. They were taught body awareness, emotional regulation, and mindful eating, which just means paying deep attention to the taste and the texture of the food without distraction. I know it sounds simple, but after 8 weeks, the kids in the mindfulness group had a significant drop in body fat. And more importantly, if you look at this data, their ghrelin and stress hormones dramatically reduced. But the kids in the conventional diet group, they actually experienced increased levels of hunger and stress hormones. And by week 16, the mindfulness group had maintained a lasting decrease in their BMI. If you change what's on your plate, but you eat while you're stressed, working, or scrolling, you're fighting a losing battle. We know that the mind controls the body, but the reverse is also true. You can physically rewire your brain's preferences. The thing is that we live in an environment basically engineered to hijack our brains. When you routinely eat ultra-processed foods, the extreme flavors numb the palate. Natural whole foods start to taste like cardboard. But taste is highly neuroplastic. You can leverage a psychological phenomenon called the exposure effect. In a 2012 study, researchers gave people a carrot and cilantro soup with 0 added salt. Unsurprisingly, everyone hated it. It tasted bland. But later, the researchers just had them eat a small amount of that exact same soup every single day. After just 3 days, the participants liked the soup 27% more. And after 5 days, their preference jumped by 50%. Look, if you're used to eating junk food, a bowl of steamed broccoli is going to taste and look boring. But if you commit to eating real whole foods consistently, your taste buds will adapt. You'll start finding richness and flavor in natural foods, and you don't have to rely on willpower forever. Eventually, your biology will crave the food that heals you. So how do we actually apply all of this? Well, your body is an incredibly complex symphony of cells, hormones, and neural pathways. But every symphony needs a conductor, and that's you. Here are 3 simple ways to keep your orchestra in tune. Number 1 is to positively reframe your circumstances. Stop dismissing your daily activity. Whether you're walking a dog, carrying groceries, or cleaning your apartment, mentally consider it as exercise. Especially if it's something sucky, like mowing the lawn or taking out the trash. Just tell yourself, this is making me stronger, or I am burning calories. As a Harvard study showed, this simple shift in perception will actually change your physiological response. Number 2, eat without a screen. Remember that if you eat in a state of stress or distraction, your brain won't register that you're full. So try to eat at least one meal a day without your phone, the TV, or your laptop. Really try to taste your food and give your gut and the brain a chance to talk to each other. And while you're at it, I challenge you to think of a few things you're grateful for. Number 3, a 7-day challenge. If you're trying to cut out highly processed foods or sugar, don't trust your taste buds. Give your palate time to repair itself. Commit to eating a new whole food for at least 7 days. And by the end of the week, your biology will begin to shift. And you might actually start to enjoy it. And that's not the only benefit. We have a whole video on what happens when you cut out sugar, so make sure you check that out. So try to reconnect your mind to your plate. When you change the way that you perceive your health, your body has no choice but to follow. If you liked the video, please leave a like and let me know your thoughts in the comments. We have other videos on the effect of the mind on the body, so make sure you check those out. And please, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss our next video. Thank you for watching. As a biologist and health journalist, I've spent a lot of time thinking about life, how the body works, what keeps us going, how fragile and incredible the whole thing is. And the more I learned about life, the more I wondered, what happens when it ends? I'm Makai and I host a new documentary called Final Hours. This film is all about answering that question. I went looking for answers the way I was trained to, science first, then philosophy. Both gave me a lot, but neither gave me everything. So, I wanted to make a film that doesn't choose. Final Hours is both science and philosophy. It's data and storytelling. It's contemplation and beauty. At the center of it are people who, by every definition, were dead. But then they came back. Something called a near-death experience. Something that is unexplainable, but as I found out, holds answers to our deepest questions. So, I sat with them and I listened. I didn't shy away from the uncomfortable questions, and they didn't shy away from the answers. And after long travels and even longer conversations, I'm honestly not the same person I was when I started filming. Why? Well, the things these people shared with me have made me think more carefully about how I spend my time and how I treat other people. The implications of what these people experienced on the other side are profound, and they're profound for all of us, including you. It doesn't matter what background you have, where you live, or what you believe. I promise you, you will find something in this film that speaks to you. And I really hope you'll watch with curiosity, holding in your mind the questions humans have been asking forever. What is this life actually for? And what waits on the other side? Don't be afraid to ask the big questions. Watch Final Hours. The full documentary is linked below.
We collided at very high speeds.
What happens after death?
There was really no way that you could muster a dream or hallucination out of that brain.
As the surgical team kind of gets ready to operate on me, that energy in the room shifted.
The next thing I knew,
I had left my body.
I looked up behind the surgeons and there were these huge light beams.
It's a place that was very kind of primitive, coarse. It was like being underground in dirty jello. I cried out, "God help me."
In the flash of just a second.
It was a world of perfection.
I was shuttled into this life review.
I saw this vision of what I was meant to do.
He says, "I know that you died full of this regret. I'm here to offer you that second chance. But if I give you this offer, you have to make sure that the next time you die, you're ready for it."
I heard my dad say to me, "Now that you know the truth, go back and live your life fearlessly."